Hey, welcome back. I have a double page scrapbook layout today, and I am starting with my embellishing first on this layout. That's kind of different for me, but as soon as I saw this folder, this embossing folder, I knew it would go perfect with the pictures that I want to scrapbook. So I started by creating this embossing folder. So it is very large. If you saw my walkthrough of the catalog, I showed this even though it's an online exclusive. So this is the Sunflower 3D embossing folder. And I went ahead and embossed that with white. And originally, looking at the mini catalog that just launched, let me get back to the cover here. This is the September-December mini catalog. And on page 25, they show this watercolor. They're using their water brush with their ink to color in an embossing folder. So I thought that would be really fun to try. So I took my inks, and I'm using Close to My Heart ink still. I don't have all of the colors through Stampin' Up, but I grabbed Toffee, Sundance, Honey Butter, Mocha, and Limeade. And I used my water brush, and I started to color that in. And as you can see, I started cutting out some of them too. I wanted to cut this apart, but as I got to looking at it, it doesn't look horrible. I think it's fine, but I wanted to be able to see the veins a little bit more. You can see I got darker in some areas. It looks very watercolored, which that is a good look. I do like it. I just don't love it. And for this particular layout, I wanted to see more of the I got a little bit of shading in here. I got a little darker in here and then brought it out lighter, but I just wanted it to show a little more of the veining and definition. So I switched gears, and instead of doing the watercolor, which I'm going to hang on to this is great. I could use it on cards or something, so I'm not going to toss it. But instead of doing the water and painting it, I grabbed my blending brushes. So I have a blending brush for each of my inks. So I grabbed my blending brushes and I did another folder. So I again embossed a white piece of paper, and then I just came in with my ink. And the key is to be very light-handed, which is very hard for me. I'm impatient, I'm heavy-handed, but the key is to stay light-handed and just do circular motions. And you stay on top of that embossing, the 3D embossing. So if you stay on top of it, the veins poke through a little bit more. If you get a little heavier, you can see I did here, I got more ink inside that vein, so it's harder to see. It doesn't stand out as much. But if you stay light-handed and just do multiple layers, then you can see the details in the petals and the the veining of the leaves and the petals and whatnot. So the key is to do multiple layers. So how I did that was I started with my honey butter, my lightest color, and I went over the entire flower. I started in the center and went over the entire thing. And then I came in with the Sundance, and I just went right around the center. So I did get some of the brown on there as well, which I don't mind the look of. So then my Sundance went right around, and it kind of darkened that the honey butter color. And then I came in with the Toffee, or actually I think I only used Mocha. I don't know that I used, I used Mocha. So I came in with my Mocha ink, and I don't know where I placed that. But you could also use Toffee and just keep layering. But I came in with Mocha and came into the center, and I was okay with it kind of bleeding out. Same with my leaves. I was okay with it kind of getting messy, if you will. So then I came in with that and did the centers. And then I did the green last, which you can see I got a little bit of green on my petals as well, which I'm okay with. I did think that these, like when you see the outside of the petals or like the underneath of the petals, I did a little more Sundance than honey butter, thinking those would be darker. So that's how I got that look. And I like these a lot more for this particular layout than I do the watercolor. So I'm going to use these, and I'm hoping to be able to cut them out, but it's going to be a little tricky. I'm thinking if I cut these 3 out here and maybe avoid the leaves, or maybe I'll try to go around the leaves this way, and then maybe these 3 down here and keep those leaves with them. I don't know if I'll keep these leaves with them or not. I might cut those leaves off and just do this, but I thought I could use the 2 bigger clusters and then maybe even fussy cut this one out to add somewhere on the layout. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera because that is going to be a struggle for me, but I'll get those cut out here and I'll bring in my Versamats. I am starting on some White Willow cardstock. Ever since this collection came out, I have been saving this paper for a beach layout. So that is what I am creating today. This is the Everyday You and Me. It was a scrapbooking workshop kit from Stampin' Up. So I cut 2 inches off of the paper here. So this is, actually, no, I cut 2.5. So this is cut at 9.5 inches. And I did that for both of them. But on the one side, I cut the top off, and on the other side, I cut the bottom off, so that when I have this going across my layout here, it looks like it's continuous. That's going there. And then from the sticker sheet, this one was attached up here, and it was a 1/2 inch strip, and same with this one. Since they were at the bottom, I was able to just measure up and do 1/4 inch strips. So I was able to cut this with my guillotine trimmer, and I can just pull these right off. Maybe that one is attached. We're gonna have to cut that one too. But this one here, we can go ahead and pull right off and stick directly on. So that is what I'm thinking for these, is have the tan strip going next to the tan, and then the blue strip up at the top, just to finish those off. Let's bring in my photos, if I can find them here. I printed this one as a 5x7. This is my main picture. As you can see, we are parked out on a beach. We are actually stuck on the beach. This was the first campsite for our trip, and we were in Nebraska at Lake McConaughey. So we saw all the fifth wheel campers down by the water, and I thought this was going to be the coolest campsite ever. You can't see the other campers. They're way down by the water, but we're kind of on top of a hill. So on the other side of that hill, there were a ton of campers clear down there. That's actually a bush in the picture. That's not the campers. You can't see them. So we barely got off the road. We were maybe 12 feet into the sand when we got stuck. We later found out that all of those campers down by the water paid tow companies to haul them down there for the weekend, and then they pay them to bring them back up. That would have been good to know ahead of time, but we did have a really good time, and we ended up just sleeping up there until morning. It turns out it was even quieter up here, and then the next morning we went down to the water. So what I'm thinking here is having those like that, another one underneath here, and then my flip flap being a 4x6 and having my journaling here. I'm using the Weekend Adventures. The adventure starts here because, yes, the adventure was starting here, but it was more of an adventure than we thought it would be. I'm bringing in those embossed sunflowers that I had cut out, and I want one on each side. They do have those straight edges since they were part of that folder, so I need to put those along an edge. And then I have this stamp set from Close to My Heart. It's called Joyful Sunflower. So I'm just kind of laying the stamps out to see where I want those placed. There's 3 different ones, so I can do 3 at a time. My flip-flap's going there though, so I don't want to put anything under that. I'm going to add my flip-flap right away here, so I know I want it over these 2 pictures. And I'll just cut my page protector, but this will also help me with my embellishments. I stamped those flowers in mocha ink, And I made this little cheat sheet for my tri-blends. So I'm bringing in citrus green, and then I'll be bringing in earth brown. But that cheat sheet, I put it next to those embossed sunflowers so I could see which colors matched best. So here I'm using the light of the citrus green, and you can see I'm kind of running my marker along the side of my paper as I color. Because I used mocha ink, it's not alcohol marker friendly. It will bleed if I rub over the ink too much. So I'm cleaning my marker off to the side there just to make sure that I don't smear that brown ink everywhere. I'm using the dark of the citrus, that yellow color, and then I use the light shade of the earth brown. So I'm not doing any of the shading, but I think it looks amazing with how that stamp is shaded. And then I'm going to die cut that out. I got those 3 cut out. This one I need to hide behind. When I stamped it, I must have gotten that stem crooked. So it, you know, the die cut wouldn't work on that. So I need to hide that one behind somewhere. But these 2 cut out beautifully. So those I could keep the full stem. I grabbed my tags to go, and I'm going to use this Life's Detours Are Better With You. And then I want to use my Spotlight on Nature dies to cut out a circle to stamp that on. I've decided to make some more of these, so I'll show you the process here on this one. I just used a piece of my scraps because really I'm just looking for this one here that matches this one over here. And then I think I might use this too. So I just have my silicone mat here, which I'll have linked down below. I am going to start with the honey butter. I wouldn't recommend doing this over your project, but I'm going to take that risk here just for video purposes. I always tap it off, and I'm going to start here and make sure I'm over my silicone mat, and I'm going to go over the entire flower in this circular motion. And then up here on this one, I'm just going to hit the tops of that. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with the Sundance. So if you're using Stampin' Up! Colors or any other company for that matter, I would just come in with your darker yellow, or this is kind of a more of an orange, but it's not quite orange. It's definitely in that yellow hue. So then I'm gonna come in with this down closer to that base. And then here I'm gonna do just that center and kind of, I need more ink. And just kind of bring it out over those petals. Again, a light hand is your friend. And it does lighten back quite a bit once it dries. Okay. Now I'm gonna come in with that mocha. And that one doesn't need any. And then we're gonna come in with the green, which I used Limeade just to keep it a nice light. I don't feel like I'm putting much more ink on this than I did these ones, but look at how much more it dries back once it dries. I am going to bring in some of my new frosted iridescent dots. So I don't know if I want to bring in the clearer ones or the bluer ones. So these kind of clearer ones would pick up more of the greens and yellows. But the blue ones might pick up more, like of these blues and kind of the water. So I added those dots. And I did use the clear ones. They're showing up a little blue because of the blue background, but I used the more clear ones. And then here's where my journaling's gonna go. Stay tuned for an upcoming video. I am going to do another layout documenting more of the story of getting stuck, or unstuck, I suppose. But this one, I mostly just wanted to document the wear and that we went for walks on the beach and we did make the most out of the situation. So it was definitely fun, but I will be creating another layout with more of the story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for spending time with me today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when I post my next video. And if you'd like to see still shots, my Instagram and Facebook are linked down below. Until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye!